Well, it seems like uh, Pete Hegseth really is trying to rebuild the military, at least, in keeping with the stated goals of why he was one of the reasons why he was picked. Because as you can see, this is actually a U.S. Department of Defense their website. This is like straight from the horse's mouth. But DoD prepares invitation to bring back troops separated for refusing the COVID vaccine. So once again, promises made, promises kept. Over the course of 500 days, beginning in 2021, nearly 8,000 active duty and reserve service members were involuntarily separated from service for refusing to take the COVID-19 vaccine. Many others left voluntarily to avoid the vaccine mandate. So, yeah, but yeah, no, shout out to, you know, the U.S. Department of Defense website. Now the Defense Department plans to invite those service members back into uniform at the same rank they held when they separated. President Donald J. Trump signed an executive order on January 27, 2025, regarding reinstating service members discharged under the department's COVID-19 vaccine mandate. As part of the executive order, active duty and reserve service members who were discharged solely for refusing to receive the COVID-19 vaccine may request reinstatement to their former rank. The Defense Department rescinds the mandate to take the COVID-19 vaccine on January 10th, 2023. So, finally we can start to, get things back on track. Hopefully these guys who were kicked out for this get back pay. Hopefully they get back pay. Last week, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth directed the Undersecretary of Defense for Personnel and Readiness to provide guidance to the military departments on how to proceed. Quote, this guidance will provide procedures to rapidly reinstate individuals who were involuntarily discharged or voluntarily left to avoid vaccination, Hegseth wrote. That guidance, now in the hands of the military departments, details the efforts the service branches must take. A large part of that effort involves records reviews, identifying service members who were involuntarily separated or voluntarily separated to avoid vaccination, and then communicating with those service members to let them know they were invited back into service. Service members voluntarily discharged solely for their refusal to take the vaccine will be contracted directly by their respective services according to the guidance. Quote, the secretaries of the military departments will invite these service members to seek reinstatement by applying to have their records corrected to reflect continued service, such that back pay, benefits, bonus payments, and other compensation subject to required offsets will be available. Good. Good. So hopefully they really follow through on this. But considering the massive military budget, they could certainly afford to give these guys their back pay. To inform the service members who were involuntarily discharged of the option to return to the uniform, the military departments will make direct contact with them by written letter, email if possible, and a telephone call. The Board of Correction of Military and Naval Records will correct the military records of service members separated involuntarily. For those who voluntarily left the service or allowed their service to lapse due to the COVID-19 vaccine mandate, the military service will reach out through broad communications, including social media, website content, or newsletter, to let them know about the process if they are interested in returning to service. So yeah, we might get 8 to 10,000. I don't know what the final number would end up being, but we might be able to get a bunch of these guys back. Now, a lot of these guys are just not ever going to come back. They feel like they've been slighted, and to be fair, they have every right to feel that way. And I would not begrudge them. I wouldn't think less of them for refusing to come back. And I bet a lot of these guys could probably just go into private contracting, probably do okay. The process includes, among other things, submitting written statements attesting that they chose to leave the service or allowed their service to lapse rather than be vaccinated under the mandate. Service members who voluntarily separated will not receive back pay, bonuses, or other compensation. So yeah, those guys who left on their own, they're not getting anything. Which I kind of almost understand, because it's like, well, you just left. You left willingly, but I mean, it's not really the same thing. I mean, it's It's pretty much the same thing. Effectively, morally, it is like it's a it. This is seems kind of a it seems like a bit of a cop out on the DoD's you know on the DoD's part. Like you should probably offer back pay to the guys who just kind of voluntarily left. But just think about that. Like you refuse to leave the army, but you also refuse to take the vaccine, so you let the army discharge you. You let the army kick you out. And then whenever you get called back, you get a bunch of back pay. Meanwhile, this other guy just said, "No, I'm leaving." Voluntarily left to avoid the vaccination, and then whenever he comes back, he doesn't get shit. Like that doesn't sit right with me. Like I said, I kind of understand there's difference between voluntary and involuntary. But in this situation like this, it seems you know like it's a distinction absent any merit. Like these guys were all in the same boat and they effectively all did the same thing. So like, what difference does it make? You should just probably give these guys their back pay also. In both cases, whether service members were separated involuntarily or separated of their own will, rejoining the military will require them to accept a 2-year commitment to continue military service and meet current military retention standards. When Hegseth took his role at the Pentagon last month, he promised to restore America's warrior ethos, rebuild the military, and reestablish deterrence. Inviting service members back who refuse to take the COVID-19 vaccine is firmly in line with these goals. Quote, "We need to do everything we can to recruit and retain a force that meets the highest necessary standards," Hegseth said. "This effort will help us reach that goal." And yeah, so bit of a short one, not a super long article, but there's really not like too much more to talk about. It's just kind of like no, but this is good. This is a good thing. We need to get the military back up. I mean, like, or not get the military back up. It's we need to right wrongs. If these guys, were serving and then they got unceremoniously booted because they refused to take an experimental mRNA treatment, an experimental gene therapy, like I don't blame them, and the U.S. Army shouldn't blame them. And it seems like the U.S. Army is done blaming them and is going to kind of make it right. But again, everyone who left, whether they left voluntarily or were discharged against their will, they all deserve their back pay, all of them. But yeah, sure to like the video and comment below if you disagree with me or agree. It doesn't matter. Just comment. Follow all my links and do all the algorithm stuff for me. Follow me on X. You know the drill. Throw me a bone.